shows.
Bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon. As they say, buenas tardes, mi amigas, mi amigos. Welcome, bienvenido. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll do this show today in English because with that I probably would struggle in Spanish. But if you need translation, we'll certainly give you a chance to call us, share your thoughts. And thank you again for allowing me the distinct privilege and pleasure to sit in this seat and facilitate as I did this morning. Hopefully you'll join me this afternoon. And log on to YouTube, go on to our Facebook page, and be a part of the conversation of the excellent company of our good friend Mario D. Rankin. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And thanks to Mario D. Rankin. Maybe that D is for democracy. That D, is for determination, deliberate. Maybe the D is just, the fourth letter of the English alphabet. I'll leave it to you. What's happening, man?
I'm good, thank you. And I just giving thanks, and I just want to tell you thanks for, obviously inviting me to come on and have open dialogue and conversation about some of the pressing issues and. Yeah, man. And things that are happening in the Cayman Islands.
I want to thank you for accepting the invitation, and through you, perhaps others would be so inclined to share their voice. Whether we agree or disagree, once we are civil and constructive, and from a considered perspective. Got a few things I want to ask your perspective, and again, by extension, a wider audience. But let's go and join our first couple of callers. Already. Whoa. See what a D brings? Hey, good afternoon. How are you? Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And welcome again, sir. How are you?
Mr. Sterling.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mario.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, I'm glad to know that there are Caymanians on there now that can relate to Cayman.
Yeah.
Born and raised here, that is I'm happy about, because I'm hearing so many different, voices on the radio, and I feel that Radio Cayman is supposed to be for us. And then I'm getting another surprise. I'm understanding that we that born here, not really Caymanians, but the ones that house starters is Caymanian. And
boy,
up to I didn't hear the news this morning because I was in prayer. I get up sometimes 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I spend a lot of time in prayer for the world, but in general, Cayman.
Thank you.
Because we are in problems here, and nobody really not noticing it. Governments come and go, and they're not really concerned about it. But biblically, the Bible says wherever you're born, that's where you're from. And I don't know who brought that law into Cayman, but it's very bad, and it's affecting us that are born here. So I won't know where I'm from. But also what to say, I think I heard somebody saying that the news came up today that the government is raised something to help assist the people a little better with the living in Cayman. I didn't hear it, but
we'll read it for you in a second.
But I want to say that, Mr. Mario, glad to hear you on there, and I want you to give me your opinion and Mr. Sterling's opinion of who we are. I want to away from. I got to go look papers now. Some years to be Caymanian. Can you tell me that, sir?
Yeah. Well, before we do, would you want to say what your opinion is on it?
Well, my opinion, just say the biblically, the Bible says where you're born.
Okay.
That's where you're from.
I heard you say that, but our law also says that if...
law? Man makes law,
Okay, so let me rephrase that.
But not God law.
Yeah, so let me rephrase that. So let's say you have two individuals they come here. Let's say they're married when they come, whether they have offspring or not. But whilst here, they have a child. These two individuals are here and extended vacation. They're working, whether for government or private sector or any combination. But they have a child that is born here. Would you say that child is Caymanian?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Where you're born,
Yeah.
that is where you're from.
Very consistent in your comment. Because there are those who would say, well, you know, unlike the U.S. and maybe other jurisdictions where that is the law, in this country, presumably, it isn't. Now, that may have changed, and I don't know, but that's my understanding. So, I'm glad to hear that you're consistent in your concerted commentary. I appreciate that, sir. All right?
Mr. Sterling, it's not me, it's Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're born, that is where you're from.
Okay.
Your mother born somewhere else. Wherever she born, where she from.
Mm-hmm.
But wherever you born, that's where you from. That's your home.
Okay.
That's how I look at it. But I understand today that the law is saying that we are really not Caymanian. So, Mr. Mario, you got your job now, and Mr. Sterling, you got your job. I want to know where I gotta go to claim my birth.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Rankin, maybe just before we begin, let's take this other call and give our caller's preference. Hey, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon. How are you?
Fine. I tell you that we needed a clone, and now we got one. We got one in the morning, one in the afternoon.
It was you that said that, eh? Boy.
Wow.
I hope that clone does well, you know. And it's better to be a clone than a clown.
Exactly. Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Mario.
Good afternoon.
Okay. I don't have much to say right now, but I was wondering, probably Mario might want to jump on this. With the climate, what the word is again now? The weather, the climate change that we're having, throughout the whole world. And our roads are made from this tar, Mario.
Mm-hmm.
What we call barber green or barbecue, whatever you want to call it, barber green. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's really, I think it even makes the island even hotter. And if we're going through a global situation now with heat, what do you think about our roads? Do you think our roads are going to contribute more to the heat in this island as we go along with all this barbecue that they're putting on our roads?
Well, I mean, unless you want me to address that now or after?
You can. I'm gonna just say that for now. You can address it. I'll probably call back later.
Okay.
I'm driving.
Okay.
Trying to get home. So I'll listen
All right.
to you.
No worries.
Sterling.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Clone. Bye. Talk to you soon.
Aye. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I would like to respond to her comment, and then obviously Mr. George.
Yes, sir.
But
yes, sir.
and I find it ironic that she asked the question about global warming and heat and causes of it and all that. And I and for me, I do my very best to try to keep a broad perspective on just about everything that affects us or that will potentially affect us.
Mm-hmm.
Global warming, climate change is one and the same. They just changed the name to accommodate narrative. I noticed that from all the stuff that I've read.
Right.
The reality is that the persons who push a narrative are not really necessarily open to certain other perspectives that don't support their narrative. And I understand that clearly, because if you have a mandate that you have been summoned to do, then you're going to do everything in your power to fulfill that mandate. I get it. But the fact that we think that the world is warming up predominantly because of humans' existence and participation and behavior, we're way off the mark. We're talking about saying that the world is hotter now than it ever been. Well, it's hotter now since we started recording it a short 100 years ago, right? So if you put that in the grand scheme of things, it's hard to tell how hot it was 800,000 years ago or 1,000 years ago, whatever the case is. So I'm not here to advocate for either. I'm here to have a balanced opinion or conversation about something and the realities of it. 13% of greenhouse gases come from every single combustible engine combined. 13%, right? Mm-hmm. And we are supposed to believe that removing ourselves from combustion engines to electric cars is going to save the planet. That is the greatest misconception and misleading statement ever to mankind. because, number one, carbon dioxide is something that trees filter, right? And if planet Earth, Mother Earth, however you want to label it, natural cycle isn't conducted, whether we have conveniences of diesel burning generators, and one of the things that I want to just put a nail in, just so everybody understand, there is no such thing as fossil fuels. Fossil fuels is a label that the powers to be at the turn of the century, the Andrew Carnegies and the Rockefellers, they labeled it fossil fuels to give it a more acceptable term. It is crude oil. It is a natural secretion of oil from the crust of the earth. Some of it seeps out the top, and some you have to drill to get it, right? So there's no such thing as fossil fuels. The fuels that we are burning didn't come from dinosaur bones. That is a blatant scientific misconception, right? Now, if we continue to think that cobalt mining to build lithium batteries to drive electric cars is far more environmentally friendly, we make a sad mistake, because we just trading one evil for the next. But here's the key point to that, is that the oil combustion based petroleum that we use now for our day-to-day operation, I'm talking about 5,000 products from petroleum. So I'm not just talking about engines and cars and generation of energy. I'm talking about combs, shoes, earphones, clothes, buttons, food, everything we consume.
Vaseline?
So everything. Mm-hmm. So the reality is that we're trading or not trading. We are pushing to trade one thing that is, yes, having some environmental impacts for something that is having more environmental impacts. But here's the kicker. It is 5 times more expensive to go electric than it is to run combustion. And it's 5 times more detrimental to the environment than it is with combustibles. Now, I think that immediately the human race should try to be more responsible in how they consume anything, mm-hmm. not just crude oil and the refined crude oils. Mm-hmm. I'm just simply saying is that, like, for instance, I go to Hurley's and I go to any of the supermarkets. They charge me 5 cents for a plastic bag, right? Mm-hmm. But they give me a paper bag for free. That has got to be the most oxymoronic stupidity I've ever seen in my life. Because when you ask the question, well, how many trees you had to cut down to produce a plastic bag? 0. How many trees you had to cut down to produce a paper bag? So you telling me that you saving the planet by charging me 5 cents for plastic to try to discourage me, but you motivating me to take the paper, mm-hmm. where you got to destroy trees in order to produce a paper bag. It's like serving a cardboard straw in a plastic cup. We see it everywhere. It's the stupidest thing ever. So, if we're going to be realistic about situations, we need to be realistic, for God's sakes.
Sensible, right? We
got to be sensible. And our government has taken a prioritized approach to be sustainable this, environmental this, and go electric. Go electric? Who going to be able to afford electric generated power? Who?
Maybe after the break we can talk about that, the actual understanding of the mining process. But as you said, that this pay to pollute sort of concept, you're not polluting, I can buy you pollution credits. So what's it? Carbon offset. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can talk. But I want, through you, to extend an invitation to all and Sunday, like, to call and share your thoughts. Agree, right. Disagree. Have a very heartfelt conversation, and recognizing that we know a lot and there's a lot that we don't know nothing about. All right, the phone lines are open. Mario D. Rankin. Maybe that D is for democracy, as we invite you and each and everyone to share a thought. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
How can you make a classic BLT sandwich even better? Well, by adding tuna. Ooh. Wow. The land meets the sea in Subway's new sandwich, the Tuna BLT, available for a limited time. The Tuna BLT is exploding with flavor. Imagine crispy, juicy bacon strips on top of tuna, fresh lettuce, and slices of tomato, topped with your favorite sauce and choice of freshly baked bread. Enjoy the best of both worlds with the Tuna BLT from Subway. Subway, eat fresh.
For 55 years, Cayman Airways has been serving as the national flag carrier of the Cayman Islands. This honor is the core of our identity, our purpose. And when we say those who fly us love us, it's not just a tagline, it's a promise. So we're celebrating this milestone anniversary with you, our treasured community, with airfares on sale for travel to all of our fall destinations. But hurry, this airfare sale ends August 12th. Call 949-2311 or book online at CaymanAirways.com. Celebrating 55 years as your national flag carrier.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Water Authority Cayman is pleased to announce that they have commenced work on Monday, 7th August to facilitate pipeline improvement works for customers on a section of Fern Circle. These works are essential to improving water service to customers in the area. This project is expected to take 2 weeks to complete. The authority will keep affected customers and the general public updated on the status of the works. Pipeline works will take place from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. Traffic will be diverted through the subdivision of Fern Circle for customers traveling south from Bobby Thompson Way and north from Fairbanks Road. During this time, local access only to residences in the area will be available, and flagmen will be on hand to direct local access traffic. Traffic signs will be posted in the general vicinity, and all motorists are asked to drive with caution to ensure their own safety as well as that of the Water Authority staff. Additionally, on Wednesday, August 9th, there will be a planned interruption of water service from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the following locations along and off of Fern Circle and Fairbanks Road: Fern Circle, Carroll Drive, L'Ambiance Townhouse Complex, Agape Church, Triple C School, Fairbanks Women's Prison, and Cuban Detention Center. Should these works necessitate any further water service interruptions, the authority will notify affected customers in advance of the planned service interruption via hand-delivered notices. The Water Authority apologizes for any inconvenience this project may cause and thanks you for your patience and understanding. The authority will make every effort to complete these works and restore the water supply ahead of schedule in order to minimize any inconvenience.
Talk today. But I do have some questions.
Talk today. Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. And thanks to Mario D. Rank. Another one, discussion. For coming on the show, Omega House, a meaningful discourse and public dialogue. Another D again. Mr. Rankin, we do have a couple of callers, and let's encourage their conversation. Welcome, good afternoon.
I said good afternoon.
Good afternoon, I say.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I finishing off from this morning when I called you, so I got cut off.
No. Thank you for letting us just...
I had in the studio. I didn't listen to who your guests were. I didn't know who they were.
Okay, yeah, right now we have the good company of Mario Rankin.
Like
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's a good company.
For public discussion, definitely good company.
I don't know what company I had this morning, but I know that good company.
Well, even better yet, we had
Amen.
All right.
Yeah, I want to I was emphasizing this morning about the young man had called in. He said that the prison officer was telling him that he not get no job when he come back out on the road. That was a couple of days ago that on the talk show.
Right.
Yeah, but how you expecting the better if you got bigger criminals watching or people that not even halfway the criminals like what they are?
I mean, no discrimination or anything. You understand? Like, I don't hate Jamaicans or nothing like that. But my grandfather was Jamaican and my father was Cuban. So I'm telling you straight up, I don't hold no water in my mouth when I have to speak. Simple as that. But what I'm saying to you now, some of them, like, they can't, like, the classes is full up and they can't get in the classes and get their certificates and whatever. How are they running that system? Are they running it like a month, 2 months, 3 months to get a certificate, or they run it like a scheduled thing, like how they would do school, like a timetable? Then, like, when you say timetable, we used to call it in school timetable.
Right.
2 hours maths, 2 hours English, whatever. Are they doing it like that? Like 2 hours, like woodwork, 2 hours electrical, 2 hours whatever trade it is or whatever class it is. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
And each class can at least hold like 7 to 10 students. So, I guess you probably the wrong person to ask it, but you can inquire. How are they running that class?
Let us inquire. Yeah. This would be good, you know, to get them to share, you know.
Up in prison, they have about how much people up in there now? About 20,000 or how much?
Well, I think last check from the census in the prison was 50 million. I don't know. It's
you don't thought, no, that's foolish to me.
No, it's on a personal level, you know, incarcerating people for anything other than the most heinous of offenses is probably something that isn't beneficial for any society. And if they're incarcerated and they're not being rehabilitated for reintegration in society to reduce the recidivism, we have to question whether we are doing something responsible and reasonable. So we'll inquire. We know that there are volunteers. We know that there are structured programs, you know, within prisons, and ours included. So let us do that.
Like how much prisoners are there in the Northwest prison now? Do you have an idea?
No. I haven't.
Is it like it could be about 20,000 or?
No. All seriousness, you're probably looking
or 2,000.
No. I think it's less than 1,000. Only a couple of hundred people in our prisons. They're not designed for.
A couple of hundred.
Yeah.
Well, SB alone must have got all the young boys up there for just the urine test alone.
Well, that's been something that many have.
Did other things too, yeah, but I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we've seen the airways. Huh?
So we can find out those statistics for me, please.
Will do. Will do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too for sharing. And as I listen to that caller's comments, maybe some will be too quick to dismiss, but the nature in which we speak sometimes may be lost under the people consciously. They are unwilling to. But her comments should not fall on deaf ears. And this is why, Mario, I appreciate not just your willingness to offer, to come and have a conversation, your willingness to accept. And it's about encouraging, and I say this sincerely and right now for very seriously, discussion, dialogue, so that people start to appreciate that this democracy isn't free. It came at great cost and continued cost if we're going to defend it. I told a caller has one more on the line. Let's take this one. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Sterling.
Welcome, man. Welcome. How are you this afternoon?
I'm good this afternoon, man.
You sounded great this morning, too.
Good. Yeah, man. Good morning and good afternoon. Good afternoon to Mr. Mario.
Afternoon, sir.
Yeah, Dwayne, I just want to topic on something, bring up a topic of the information that the opposition, leader of the opposition, wrote to the premier regarding the interest rates against the people of the Cayman Islands.
Good topic.
Sterling, I honestly, I am so disappointed and shocked when I hear two officials such as the opposition leader, which is trying to get some solution for the people of the Cayman Islands, and then on the backhand of it, our premier doesn't want to respond to his request of him calling back or whatever the situation, to let the people knows what is happening to their banking system, and we have a serious problem in the banks with this fluctuation of interest rates constantly. And it's not going to stop. It's not going to come to an end until the government decide that they come away from these private sectors of these banks.
Agreed.
And make more Cayman banks in the Cayman Islands. This has to stop. And if the premier can't come to a conclusion and let the people know, they need to call some type of formal meeting that we need to understand in what's happening in our country. We just can't allow one man to hold back all information, and it making the whole Cayman Islands look bad. And I don't want to sound like I'm flabbergasting against anyone or calling out anyone or anything else, but Sterling, I said from the first day, very day that I called your show, I said my words of solution to anyone, I call a spade a spade. I do not back down from no one, and I do not back down from nothing. But when it comes to our country needing help, I feel so neglect, knowing that we don't have security. Remember the leadership of the 10 points I read out this morning?
Right.
When we do not have that leadership of knowing that we have a premier that can lead this country and secure the people of this country, we are heading in a bad decline in this country.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Mario.
Well, I just want to add to the caller. Thank you for bringing up that topic, because I was definitely planning on bringing that up during the show.
Indeed.
and I'm happy you did. But to your point, sir, I just want to make this very clear to the Caymanian public, right? When we have politicians who playing political football with the future and the sustainability of Caymanian people, we can't stand by and just play dead. No, we have to open our mouths, as you doing right now. So we're looking at Mr. Roy, who is the leader of the opposition, who's a certified public accountant by profession.
Yes.
Then we're looking at Mr. Dwayne Patton, who is the premier of the country, who is a legal certified lawyer of the Cayman Islands. So I find it very hard to believe or even digest that neither of these two individuals can come up to a plausible conclusion that would take Cayman in the right direction. And that conclusion is this: none of the mortgages in the Cayman Islands are borrowed or used by any Fed rate money out of the U.S., right?
Yes.
But these banks are allowed to charge interest rates according to Fed rates when they raise. Now, I had this conversation with Mr. Chris Saunders because he was the only person that is elected that I know been a part of the banking system, and that's his career, right? And the answer from him is that, oh, well, you can't pass a law, because I asked him the question, well, why we can't pass a law stating that no bank in the Cayman Islands that is not using Fed rate money to give mortgages are allowed to increase interest rates based on Fed rates, right? That should be a law. His answer was, oh, it's more complicated. It ain't nothing more complicated about that. It's cowardness. There's a difference between complication and cowardness. We have politicians such as the premier and the deputy, the leader of the opposition, who are closely affiliated with the private sector and all of these banks. So therefore, they're being influenced from a sector of people who are telling them that this is not a good idea because it's going to affect business. But the reality is that Caymanian families that qualified for a $2,500 a month or even a $1,800 a month mortgage is now paying almost $4,000 because of interest rates. So that takes them out of the qualified zone and put them into the future foreclosure zone. And what the government doing about it? Kicking the can down the road, accepting that, oh, the banks will give us a 30-day notice when they're going to raise interest rates. I mean, what good is that?
Exactly. And this morning I read out one of the 10 purposes of a leader. And what you just topic on there, it covers the same number 9, courage. Our leaders doesn't have no courage.
Cowards is what they are. They got plenty of that.
They don't have no courage to cover the people of the Cayman Islands when it comes to these fluctuations in these banks and the gas prices raising constantly, taking people money that they work hard for, and they don't raise no interest, no percentage on the. Let me give you, Samara, before I go, let me give you a illustration of how much in percentage government gives our people here on the block. I don't know about Cayman. My son was working under a government entity, and they gave him 39 cents raise.
What?
Can you believe it?
No.
You can't even go to the store Cayman Brock and get 39 cents worth of candies, and they gave him a 39 cent raise on his salary. And you got to tell me that we have government leaders that sitting down there playing proud to one another, and they can't come to an agreeable point in the Cayman Islands that they can stand for the country and lead the people down a path of where they feel like they have a future. We are in a serious spiral in this country, and if people don't turn their head the other way and realize who we have leading us, we are in a bad position, and it only can get worse. It can only get worse because those sectors or those banks that are under foreign investment here in this country, they are not going to subdue to no government official of the Cayman Islands to drop their interest rate when they have other countries that they depend on. They are not going to do it here for the Cayman Islands. And I don't understand why the people not seeing it and understanding.
Well,
hey, thanks, man. Thank you. Feel free to share as you wish, man. Enjoy your afternoon. All right, Bo.
You too.
Are you?
Well, I just want to end by saying this, is that the government can pass laws. They can put laws in place to prevent mortgages that are not affected by Fed rate to be increased because of interest that are being raised in the U.S. markets. The problem is that we have allowed the banking institutions to write their own game plan and their own policies. You see, we haven't interfered because we feel as if the presence of their business is such a win-win for our economy that we must let them write it however they want. Now we see where I have a close personal friend whose mortgage went from $2,500 now to almost $4,000, and the man is drowning, and he's a single parent. And the thing that blows my mind is that the premier and everybody that is in government with the expertise and the ability to have a conversation with the banks and the insurance companies too, because they don't get off the hook as well. But at the end of the day, we have a very pressing issue in the Cayman Islands where people will end up getting foreclosed on. And if you look at the fine print in the foreclosure laws, if a bank starts a foreclosure process, they don't have to reverse that, even if you have the money to bring it current.
It's a demand loan. Yeah.
So it's a demand loan. So you have to understand that we are in a very vulnerable situation because we got cowards as politicians, and that's a fact.
Yeah. Well, as we go into the break, to your point, maybe we'll come back and talk more about that. But as we understand it, even if your loan is being paid on time and the bank decides for whatever reason they want to call in your loan, this could be 5 years left on it. This could be the first year of a 15 or 20 year term. The bank can say, listen, we want you to repay it in full by this time. It's a demand loan, unlike a mortgage. Now, if that's wrong, we invite the banking sector officially to clarify that. But that's what we've been told across the board. Let's pause though and take this, scheduled break. When you come back, I'm going to ask you to sing because you sound probably as good as I do. But we got to talk. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
It's a 24-karat summer with Digicel. In honor of our first truly COVID-free summer, Digicel is giving away $24,000. Be one of 10 to win $2,400 this July. For a chance to win, all you have to do is switch to Digicel, activate a Prime bundle, or simply pay your bill on time. It's that easy. It takes 2 minutes to get $2,400 richer. Make the choice to win today and visit a Digicel store near you.
For 55 years, Cayman Airways has been serving as the national flag carrier of the Cayman Islands. This honor is the core of our identity, our purpose. And when we say those who fly us love us, it's not just a tagline, it's a promise. So we're celebrating this milestone anniversary with you, our treasured community, with airfares on sale for travel to all of our fall destinations. But hurry, this airfare sale ends August 12th. Call 949-2311 or book online at CaymanAirways.com. Celebrating 55 years as your national flag carrier.
Know the signs of a faulty septic system: sinks and toilets that drain slowly, floor drains that overflow, or sewage that is visible outside your home are all signs that your on-site wastewater treatment system is not working properly. If your septic system is faulty, now is the time to fix it to prevent further damage in the event of a storm. For more useful hurricane preparedness tips, visit the Water Authority's website at www.waterauthority.ky or follow us on social media.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
But I do have some
question.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And thanks to the callers who are sharing publicly, for those who are sharing their comments in another forum. We invite you to be a part of a discussion. Thanks to Mario Rankin for being our guest. 949-8037, 949-6990. Two numbers you can call. I'll give you two more. Toll free with the compliments of flow. 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp. You can call it even. You can message it if you want. 925-3261. For you and anybody else who has another way to get through to us, well, use that as well. Mario.
Well, I mean, on the vein of the cost of living and all those things in which we face, right? Mm-hmm. And if we look at the system and the reality of the system, and we understand what is sustainable from what's not sustainable, one thing I've noticed, and that is blaringly obvious, is that the cost of living in Cayman is quite attainable by those on work permits, because their obligation to contribute and participate in Cayman is limited. It's based on whatever they want to do in regards to buying a house or renting an apartment or leasing or buying a car or whatever, eating in the restaurants. If a person come in, and I speak hypothetically, right? Because I don't want to be where somebody say, oh, that's not factual if you said it factually. I'm saying hypothetically, a person comes here on a work permit, and they have a lot of other people here from their country of origin, so they pool their resources. They do community cookouts. They rent one apartment and 12 of them living in it, paying one rent. So these are the things that allow them to be able to afford to live in this high cost of living. Now, when you shift a gear and flip the page, and you see a Caymanian now who working for the same wages, under the same conditions, but can't live the way that they do. They can't pool their resources. They can't have a community kitchen. They can't have 13 Caymanians in one bedroom apartment to lower the monthly rent and all these different things. So it's not sustainable for the Caymanian people, but it's way sustainable for those people who are on work permit in certain categories. But yet the government has done zero. I mean, absolutely nothing to address this issue. And when I say done nothing to address this issue, we know that gas now is at $6 a gallon, right? And if we translate that to U.S., I just got back from the U.S. a day or two ago, and the gas there is 3 times cheaper than it is here. But yet, the same fuel they're using in Florida, we use here, because they got to go to Florida to get it, to bring it to Rubis in the Bahamas to redistribute it in the Caribbean. Facts. But somehow our government has chose to accept the 75 cents per gallon based on volume and not on cost, because it fills a certain gap in government revenues and in that GDP. So what they have decided to do is, okay, well, the sustainability of the people will just have to be the price we pay by allowing them to continue to do what they do, so we can collect the 75 cents and put it into our coffers so that we can spend money on whatever they appropriate it for. Who knows? You just go to the ESO website and you'll see the laundry list of appropriations government make that just don't make no sense. But I always ask the question, why is it that the largest consumer of fuel on this island, which is the utility company, has 100% pass-through cost to the consumer, but then the consumer has zero say in where you buy fuel from and how you buy fuel and how you store it and where you store it? But yet, when you cycle your bill and you bill us for it, we better pay it or we be in the dark. And if the government really wanted to do something to initiate some sort of communication with the utility company to make sure that we're getting value for money, those are the items that would be on the top of the list. We need to know where you're buying fuel from, how you're buying it. We need to take control of that. And we need to know, matter of fact, we need to see your formula that you use to charge per kilowatt hour.
What's your cost, right?
Because nobody can tell me at CUC, and I challenge anybody at CUC. In fact, they can all come together and form a transformer, so they can combine their mental thoughts and their physical efforts to come out and show the Caymanian public a formula that they use in order to say that Block 24C burnt X amount of diesel per kilowatt hour. I need them to show us the formula that they use and how they calculate your fuel factor on your bill. They don't have one.
As we go into the break, I reminded that the Honorable Kurt Tibbetts, when he was a minister with responsibility for that, had proposed something or other to ask, how they came about with their costing.
I'll say this before the break.
Yeah.
Bringing up Kirk Tibbetts in regards to this is not even worth mentioning because it was the biggest pump fake this country has ever seen. Oh, we can hold him accountable right up until you had to hold him accountable, and he didn't hold him accountable.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we should not be charging on volume. We should be charging on cost because we don't know what they're paying for it. Or maybe we know what they're paying and just turning a blind eye and say, oh, well, we're getting 75 cents a gallon. Let us just satisfy with that and make the people eat the cost. But now we see where people living on the beach and bathing on the beach and eating out the garbage cans, and our government sit down and stand silently and try to put out all these social programs to mitigate it in the smallest manner. I mean, band-aid effect is too great of a term to use because it's less than.
Wow. With that, let's go into our 1 p.m. headlines. When we come back, it'll be a part of our discussion. Maybe offer up some solutions. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Yes, read the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins. The 55-year-old man of Northside who was arrested on Wednesday, August 2nd in relation to the fire incident at the Northside police station has now been formally charged with arson. The man will be appearing before court today, Monday, August 7th. In international news, a former Minneapolis police officer has been sentenced to 57 months, almost 5 years in prison, for his role in the death of George Floyd. The officer was found guilty of aiding and abetting manslaughter by a Minnesota judge in May. The officer testified that he acted as a human traffic cone, holding back bystanders while Derek Chauvin knelt on Mr. Floyd's neck for nearly 10 minutes. Mr. Floyd's death on May 25, 2020, sparked mass protests across the U.S. Zoom, the video communications company whose name became synonymous with remote work during the pandemic, has ordered staff back to the office. The firm said it believed a structured hybrid approach was most effective and people living within 50 miles of an office should work in person at least twice a week. It is the latest push by a major firm to roll back flexible working policies. Amazon and Disney are among the firms that have reduced remote work days. Surveys suggest that workers are still holding on to the ability to work from home to some degree. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
I am Heather Bodden, MP for Savannah and a lifelong advocate for the environment. Illegal dumping is a crime, so please take civic pride in our home and put litter where it belongs. If you see someone littering, report it to the Department of Environmental Health on 949-6696.
Be a part of the solution, not the pollution. Littering is a crime punishable by a $500 fine or 6 months in prison. Brought to you by the Beautification Task Force and Ministry of Tourism and Ports.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born in Watering Place, Cayman Brac, on the 8th day of July 1936, Captain Fred Elman Scott was the 5th child born to Nalio and Vera Scott. Captain Scott enjoyed a fulfilling career at sea, spanning more than 50 years. He was ahead of his time, employing his mathematical and computer skills to create payroll software, depth charts of Georgetown Harbor, and his pride and joy was his weather program that could detect when a storm formed anywhere in the world and was able to track and forecast its path. He had 6 children and was married for 52 years to Bernadette Silva, whom he met during his tenure in Brazil. In 1954, when Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II visited, Captain Scott had the distinct honour shaking the Queen's hand and piloting the Royal Yacht Britannia and anchored it in the Georgetown Harbour. Captain Scott was a humble man who liked his khaki suit and cap and loved to share his knowledge with those who crossed his path. He was honoured at the National Heroes Day, acknowledging the seafaring heritage of these islands.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And if you think the discussion isn't, direct and deliberate enough, please call and share your perspective. Engage in the discourse, and if you can do so diplomatically, great. If not, hey, sometimes it's what it is. If you think it's a little bit too hard hitting and otherwise, well, that's fine too. Let us know. Thanks to Mario Rankin for being our guest. I say that deliberately because for those of us who have family and friends in the armed services, and I was talking in terms of the Western democracies, or had that level of service where even in, the post-World War II, post, Korea or Vietnam or the Desert Storms, there's still potential for wars, as the scriptures talk about, and rumors of wars. And the democracies that we have are sometimes being threatened from within. So we can't take our freedoms and liberties for granted. Now, with that corresponding right to speak and assemble should be a responsibility to do so civilly. Mm-hmm. But in the Cayman context, I think either we're ill-informed or ill-intentioned, or B, can I borrow the word that you use? I used it one time and someone said that's a wrong word, you shouldn't say that. Have we become courageous or cowards? Have you gone from what I thought was a courageous people with serious, fortitude to spineless people that are cowards now?
Well, one thing I will say about that, about our forefathers, they must be spinning in their graves.
Man, jeez.
Because I know that every single indigenous, and I hate to use that term, but we have to now because, like Mr. George opened the show mentioning,
yes, sir,
that we are struggling to identify who we are, even though we born and raised, and our parents born and raised here, we still having an issue as to who we are in our own country. But yet a person who have come here, put in a couple of years, have a piece of paper that says that they're a status holder, have more rights than us. And that's a fact because it happened just recently with my son. Now, luckily, in the institution in which he was working in, they overlooked it briefly until he got the documents, so they didn't prevent him from starting the job. But in fact, he was told that, until you can produce proof that you came on, and you can't start working here.
Yeah. So let me ask me, was that not in that institution, that whole idea of this thing that we have now, do you think that was just inadvertent on their part, we just casual? Was it malicious and intentional? No. I mean,
I don't think it was malicious and intentional. I just think that we had, and for lack of a better term, and I try my best not to be slanderous, but I think that we just had poor negotiators and people that don't understand the very laws that they were instituting. They just didn't have the understanding.
Complacency, you think?
And I don't think it's complacency.
Okay.
I just think that they were just plain stupid.
Okay. I'm not trying to put
I was trying to avoid saying that.
No.
Right. And ignorant to the fact that, look, this will be a problem.
So because I think I'm hearing your heart. Like me, you're not trying to be malicious. You're not trying to be confrontational or inflammatory, right?
No, I'm not. I'm just a bit frustrated that I have a young son who has applied for a job, did the interview, qualified. They say, okay, we willing to hire you, but by the way, You need to produce a police record. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. That's easy enough. Oh, and you need to show proof of Caymanian. Now, the fact that his mother and his father is third and fourth generation Caymanian isn't enough. So his birth certificate, no. I'll just end with this.
Yes, sir.
His birth certificate, his voter's registration, and his driver's license doesn't prove that he's a Caymanian.
All right, before we take this call, to your point, and it's probably something, I was trying to find a word like you did, and I appreciate the pains that you tried to go to avoid using the word stupid, right? Maybe naive, maybe too trusting. I don't know what it is on our part.
Well, the fact that my son had to produce all of that, but our government got foreigners on contract working with them.
In high school.
And here my son is trying to get a job, right? To have some level of participation in this economy, but he has to jump through hoops and bounds like a circus act.
Yeah. Let's take this call, but even not just for government, scholarships as well. You have to.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, let's talk about that, but let's take this call.
Yeah.
All right, Mario Rankin sits with us. Hey, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Sterling. How you doing?
Excellent. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mario.
Good afternoon, sir.
Your good friend Gary Watler here.
Hi, how you doing, Gary?
You touched my heart again, man. What happened to you, man?
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. Listen to me, man. This is more passionate to me as it is to you, brother. Let me tell you something. My child had to go through the same footage. But remember, I want to be, again, in between the two situations. I was charged for hiring a Caymanian.
Wow.
That I had Cayman status. And this is why we are subjected to this kind of nonsense. Because we don't know now who is Caymanian from who's not Caymanian. This young man, he is still in no man's land.
Wow.
I was charged for him. He was granted Cayman status and lost at the age of 18 with no knowledge that he had to reapply until the government get off of their butts and fix that law and get rid of that stupid stipulation about you give him Cayman status, give to him. They give away Cayman status free of 22D, free.
Mm-hmm.
No stipulation. Why we got to give these younger children to until they reach the age of 18?
Yeah.
Like that case I'm working on, the poor child got to lose it because they decided to live in England and they got to prove that they live here 5-7. Until the government have make a decision to get rid of that clause in the law, when they're revamping this new law, they got all kind of legal and all kind of personnel on this new reform about rewriting the immigration. Get rid of the clause after they reach the age of 18.
Yeah.
Give it to them already. Let them finish enjoy the benefit for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
We gave away to the 2D. The 2D, what I mean, unconditionally.
Unconditional.
It's like you. It's like me, you.
Yeah,
you
man.
understand me? You know the law that I'm quoting to you. So,
Yeah, I know.
Forward, man. Where are we going with this? Because until they decide to do that, Mario, our younger generation is going to continue to be
The struggle.
Disenfranchised, no?
foolishness.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree with you, Gary.
Right. Hey, thanks much, Mr. Zico.
Guys, I'll
All
keep
right.
it right there.
Yeah, man.
How are you?
You too. And we can continue the discussion, but let's take this other caller.
Sure.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon again.
Well, we shaking that door. Hi.
I tell you, my people, you see how he dragging himself there like he's about to have a heart attack.
Pray not. But it's not
God,
growing.
no,
But
because
people are not supposed to have to go on like that
Yeah.
about this piece of paper. We got all these politicians. We got 19 of them. If they can go change all they want change, well they can't. That's simple. A simple little thing to change that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple.
they just have to remove it.
Just listen to me. It comes straight out. If you listen to Roy McTaggart message about independence, Jamaica independence, and I criticize nobody, like I say, my grandfather was Jamaican and my father was Cuban. I have nothing against nationalistic Jamaicans. But if you listen to his message, it tell you clean and straight. He was born in Jamaica. His mama was Jamaican, and he rubbed that thing in. But I not hear him rubbing in anything about locals. Locals. If you listen to that, when I listen to that, right, I say, really? This is who we are representing us? You know why they keep getting in though? You see, in Georgetown, they love white skin, you know, and I tell you no lie about that. It's similar to West Wales love white skin too. Okay?
Oy.
Like I told my classmate, Johan, I said it on, let's speak it up. I say, drop in a sack of flour for 20-25.
Oh, you rough to it.
No, that's the problem. He need to drop in a sack of flour and then go down the banana walk and all them places there.
Who you say that is?
You see
Johan.
you can go sit down by the table and mingle with all
Johan
them.
Moxham?
Well, he need it. Yeah, he color a different color.
He high color, man.
No, he not high enough.
He just got to stay out the sun.
What color eyes do he got? Like blue eyes or something like that, too, you know.
Well, he can get contacts then.
Lens in too.
Oh, you rough, man. All right. Hey, thanks, huh?
No, that's still going on.
Yeah.
It's a lie, huh? That's still going on.
Well, talk to you again, okay? All right.
I clearly sympathize with the struggle that everybody's having with this ridiculous clause, and again, you never really understand it till it hits your doorstep, right?
He who feels and knows it, right?
And I remember me and my son driving around. He's like, "Boy, Dad, you know, I need to get a piece of paper proving I came on." And I said, "Wait a minute, back up. You need to do what before you start working?" I said, "Man, don't and you know."
Let me ask. You've shared it publicly. Dr. Steve Myfield has his story. He's at the chair where you are, at least, you know, similar chair. He's going to renew his practicing certificate before the courts, and as he said, they ask him for this thing. He said, "Well, I've been doing this now. I'm gonna exaggerate 1,000 years, right?" And for many hearing this, perhaps they don't appreciate that it isn't just offensive in to the core, but it's sort of, well, what is this? Everybody would accept that a country needs something to be able to identify its citizens. Now, the sad thing is, as Mr. Steve said earlier this morning, Caymanian isn't a citizenship, right? So that's probably something that we need to look at.
We need to look at, yeah.
But I've been asked by many, well, what is it I need to produce and to whom? So, for example, and it's interesting that this conversation comes up now because just last evening, a family was looking at, you know, schooling and had asked me a similar question. So presumably, and I only use the government scholarship as an example, right?
Right.
This was not the case for that, but it's probably easier. So you're applying for a government scholarship. They're asking you to satisfy that you're a Caymanian, which makes sense if the money is available to Caymanians,
Agreed.
right?
No problem there.
So the documentation that you would need to provide to work or whomever is birth certificate of you, your parents, and whichever. Is the same documentation that you would provide, say, for scholarship, right? So what is it that we need to do if our passport or birth certificate or voter's ID for those who are registered voters are in and of themselves insufficient?
Well, my question is this. My question is this. What disqualifies a voter's registration card from making you a Caymanian? when the Constitution states you have to be a Caymanian to be eligible to vote.
But this is, so if you possess that, should you not be Caymanian?
But this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you show up with your voter's registration card, birth certificate, and a passport, 3 forms of verification that you are who you say you are.
Yeah.
But yet, there is a stipulation that says you need to go one step further to get a piece of paper from the same institutions that provided the 3 pieces of document you got, you know.
Yeah.
Because remember now, you know, every single piece of those documents I just mentioned are all government-issued document, and with exception of the passport now, which is being issued in the UK. Okay?
Yeah, but still a government.
But still a government, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, how is it that these documents are not sufficient, but another document from the same institution is?
And wouldn't that same institution now need what documents to look at to be able to say that you are?
Well, for instance, then, what did I have to provide to prove that I can register to vote?
And there's some of these same things.
When my son turned 18, he didn't have to go and show proof he was Caymanian to be registered to vote, you know.
No.
The politician ushered them down there because they're looking votes. And not only that, they make the process very easy. Birth certificate, passport, boom, you're in.
That's all?
Well, I know one thing for sure. My son did not have to produce a document from immigration saying he was Caymanian to get the voters to get on the voters registration list. So I am, again, to Gary's point, they just need to remove certain things that will make that will prevent these creation of issues that are happening within the Caymanian people. Now, we could talk about this forever, but until we have brave politicians,
courage again,
who is willing to do the right thing we're not going to get anywhere.
All right.
So that's the sad, unfortunate part about it.
Let's take this call, but first, here someone says, maybe it's a joke, but maybe it's not. It says we need to amend the Cayman Islands Constitution to a section that says the politicians need to actually follow the Constitution.
Good point.
Yeah. Let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon.
Mr. Sterling.
Uh-huh.
Me again, sir.
Yeah, welcome back to me again, sir.
Sure. Anyhow, Mrs. Mario, you know what answer me yet? You know, I know you got answer me. Man. I want to know what I got to do to become a real Caymanian. That's one. And another thing you're talking about, this voter registration card, I don't know why the government do not put a law to say that your voter's registration card is acceptable as an ID. To me, that is the real one. I read somewhere a few weeks ago, and they asked me for my ID, and I pull out my registration, voter registration. We don't want that. We want your driver's license. You imagine the ID that is given to the people to prove that you are who you say you are, the voters' registration card, and they don't want to take that as an ID. What's happening in Cayman? Now, that is something. They want your driver's license. You imagine.
Well, Mr. George, why?
I need those two answers.
Well, while you're on the line, the thing that you have to do to prove that you're a Caymanian, in regards to paperwork, you need to go to the immigration department and you need to apply for a document that shows that you are a Caymanian. That's what I had to do for my son.
And what that is?
Well, we haven't received it yet, so I don't know what it looked like.
So your birth paper not telling you who you are?
Well, clearly that's not sufficient enough.
That's not acceptable anymore?
It doesn't seem like in certain institutions it's not.
Right. My God. Anyhow, if the story is true that the government has considered the poorer class people and raised their pay, I give them congratulations for that. But they need to also fix this government voters registration card to tell the entities that is first priority to proving that they are Caymanians or who they say they are.
But Mr. George, you can't get that card unless you prove you're Caymanian. That's the thing that blows my mind.
So, why the entities do not accept it? Why?
Because we have a broken system which politicians decide to turn the blind eye simply because they don't prioritize it enough to think that it is important and that it affects the Caymanian people, which it does.
The people not got driver's license.
That is
but
true.
They got voters registration card.
That is true.
And they don't want. Anyhow, thank you, gentlemen. But
yes, sir. Thank you.
I want to know if my birth paper that said that I born in Georgetown, no good. I want to know that. Can anybody from the government answer me that question, please? Thank you. I'll listen in.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, sir. And we can get up, but let's take. We got 500 calls. Let's
go.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you doing, Bo?
Hey, sir. How are you today?
I'm not too bad. I think that's Mr. Gentleman in the thing with you, Mario.
Yes, Mario D. Rankin. Yes.
Okay. That's a powerful name, man. You know.
Yeah.
Boy, I feel so. I agree.
You know, I get amazed. I get puzzled. Not confused, of course, no. But what's taking place in this island? I heard Mr. Shillette talking about proving to be a Caymanian. The biggest mistake that I see with Caymanians now, they are afraid, deadly afraid to open their mouth and say what they have to say. You don't have to be making allegations, but precisely what you see happening, you should talk about it. the things when it comes about Cayman status, he's a Caymanian like me. What a sorrowful joke, my friend. I go to America, I can only become American citizen. I'm not American. I got a British passport, and I am not an Englishman. I am a British subject. Okay, that's what I am. However, having said that, thank God there's a door open that Caymanians have another avenue. Because what's happening here, I say so without fear of friction. Which person of the day cannot see who is running this country? You say it, but you're afraid to say. What's wrong with you? What, you got cotton balls? The country is run by Jamaica. We are now where we was before 1962 when they got their independence. They took the whole place over and nobody can say anything. You hear them talking about who's what color and this, that, and the other. My friend, let's get away from that. Let's leave that as a error in history about who is what color. Because I say that to say this. If you think that your politicians are worried about Caymanians voting for them anymore, you're making a mistake. And the politicians, whether he's brown, black, blue, or whatever he want to call himself, they are depending on these status holders are in here now. They know that there's more of them than us now. This country, my friend, who can see what's really happening here, right? Someone said this morning on the other talk show talking about people couldn't build if you didn't sell them the land. That is what I call throwing up a smoke screen. You sold the person the land, so that means that he can do anything he wants with it. Only in the Cayman Islands you say that. So don't come with that garbage about you sold him the land. Meaning that you don't have rules, regulations, and restrictions of what you can build. That is into the government, the planning, and authority to be. That's who's allowed it, not the people that sold them the land. Okay, you can go to other countries and buy all the land you want, but you are going to follow their rules and regulations. Came on, they couldn't do nothing if it didn't sell them the land. That is the biggest. I just can't find a term to say.
We can hear you, man. Yeah, man. Good point, sir. And thank you. Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
You too, sir. All right, let's take a couple more calls.
Sure.
Hey, welcome. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. And how are you?
Oh, boy. I'm good.
Oh, good. Mario's good too.
I'm good, thank you.
It's good to have a humor sometimes.
You have to.
Yeah. Listen to Mr. Shillette. I don't know where this thing comes from. How you become a Caymanian, or if you're a Caymanian. You know, many years ago, I don't know if you can remember, where people came here, was having children, and they had to be sent back home to their country, to their parents' country, but they could not get a passport and a birth certificate and all that kind of garbage. You guys remember that?
Vaguely, yeah. We had something and some claimed that it wasn't appropriate and only applied to some.
Yeah. And a lot of mothers send their kids back to Jamaica, Philippines, and to various places.
Mm-hmm.
I have a girlfriend who got caught in that. Now that son is back in the Cayman Islands as a grown man. But I don't know if that helped brought on this garbage about who's the Caymanians and who's not a Caymanian. And then when you say that you're I would never say that I'm a Caymanian if I know I didn't born here, or because I got papers and I'm a citizen. I got citizenship. That doesn't make me a Caymanian. In America, when you get a green card, what they call you
a legal alien.
Legal alien. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But that's all. You know about that.
Uh-huh.
But I want to say that. Oh, I lost on my thought. Okay. I want to talk about. But.
Okay, you write it down and call us back.
You made me lose that.
Yeah, I know that. I gave you another thought. All right.
Yes.
Thanks, right? Thanks. And that's the passion, but that's also the thing. Let's take one more if we can. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I lost mine too.
You lost yours too. Oh, this is a day to maybe we need to find some more.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
With that thing there with the piece of paper that they have, they can do that like how they did the status in 2003. Give it to the Caymanians now too, like shandies and hot cake.
Yeah, but a question though that has been asked a number of times. We talk about the 12,000 of 2003, and the reason why I say that is that there was a UN report from the that indicated that the 3,000 would have equated to 12,000. But presumably, in the last few years, we've granted more than that. Whether it's true or false is just a contention. So to what extent are we looking at integration, acclimation, assimilation, and the idea of unification, right? So it's something to consider, all right?
Yeah, but that 2003 was the beginning, was to start off.
Right.
When you start, the worst part of a war is when you start it. You understand? 2003 was the massive grant. You understand? That gave a culture shock. You understand? A culture shock to a lot of Caymanians that couldn't handle it. You understand? So it's not like about, what you gave after. Because they had the get then to give after that. Like, you give it out like hot cake because they gave it out a hot cake in 2003. But I want to say, who did it in 2003 is that was the problem. You understand? And like I'm saying, like if you're a Caymanian, you got to be a Caymanian to have this piece of paper for rights, right? All right. If you got a voter's ID, how come people is voting then, like, on a voter's ID? A lot of them not got in papers to prove that they are Caymanians. So how they are voting?
No, you have to prove you're Caymanian to get a voter's registration card. Those are the facts. Those are facts.
But what I'm saying, they're saying the letter is right to prove that you're Caymanian, right? So if you got a voter's ID and you don't have one of those letters, how can you have the right to vote?
If that's the standard to assess whether you're Caymanian.
No. Because it's a two-way. It looks like it's a two-way street. Okay, it's like a two-way street. The barriers that Caymanians not to get jobs and stuff like that. That's a blockage for them. You understand? But when it comes to election time, how come you're not asking the Caymanians to produce that document too?
Okay.
Actually, that's a very good point. That is an extremely good point because if a person can show up with a birth certificate and a passport and get registered to be a voter, and that gives you the right to vote as a Caymanian, then certainly, if I walk into an institution and apply for a job and I qualify and I go and I get awarded the job by way of interview and I produce my voter's registration card, that should also be sufficient enough for me to start working, as opposed to showing an additional piece of paper to prove that I'm a Caymanian.
Yeah, this is why I told Dwayne on the talk show, back there, he can rewind and come again with that, I told him, I said, listen, next election 2025, we're gonna have a campaign going on with status holders, because a lot of them have this paper proving that they are Caymanians. Okay, and a lot of them they can vote probably by now. A lot of them can vote, but what I'm saying to you is, local Caymanians, how much of us have that paper to prove? I don't have no paper to prove it.
I don't.
Straight out.
I don't have it either.
Blank. I don't have it.
Sterling, you got yours?
No, man.
You're not really a Caymanian then.
Oh, it can be.
What I'm saying to you is that I am requesting, I am demanding a master shall do a thing like what they did for the status holders to make them line up with a yellow envelopes and stuff right by the old record station right there by the police record station right there. That would they would line up, to get the status. They would probably get it for free, and they would someone for paying and all kinds of things went on top that maybe. You understand? Okay. Do the same thing for the Caymanians. Make them come in and get their papers for free too. what's happening. Because at the end of the day, because when they vote, right now, a majority of them have that, right? And if you really take it out as like the statistic, they will be the leaders of this country. They will have the most voters that can go and vote if you're going by that piece of paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thanks, man. And maybe as you...
Don't cut me off.
Oh, sorry.
But I see, because I got...
No. Before you continue, no disrespect. I wasn't intended to do that, okay? Please recognize that.
I'm telling you, this is what's taking place. And if other people don't stand, because we got some dead airs up inside our legislative assembly that I don't know how they even got in there. Okay? Because in this one and that one, I don't know how they got in there. You understand? I don't know how they got in there. They came on, the people must have fell asleep.
All right. No, I didn't want you to...
Serious thing.
Yeah.
This is a serious thing. We need to do this right now, and like now. We have to make sure to get all our local Caymanians together and get this piece of paper. Who can afford to get it can get it for free.
If I might ask you, I mean, I think I hear your justification, but another question is, should that be warranted? Should Caymanians have to do that?
No, listen to me. Don't tell me about have to, Sterling, Dwayne Ebanks.
Yes, ma'am.
We are under England. We have a mother. Okay? In England, English people love Jamaicans. You don't understand that? I heard that from my father days. English people love Jamaicans. Get it or you don't want to get it? Listen to me as I listen today. I'm talking to you.
I'm listening.
Seriously.
Turn the volume up.
Come in, and if you don't heed, okay.
Okay.
If you don't heed, you see what God will do with this nation.
Wait, so you can hear, you can feel, right?
You don't want... No.
Yeah.
No. Listen to me.
I hear you. I'm listening.
Listen to me. I warned you a couple of times. I left my phone number. You never call me.
Hey, sorry. If you did, because I honestly can tell you publicly.
I left my phone number.
Okay.
Oh, no, I can't get that call.
I didn't get your number. I do apologize. Can you leave it again once more, please?
I left it again.
Paul, do you have it? Okay, Paul said he doesn't have it. Can you leave it with us, please?
I make sure you call me.
No. He said he doesn't have it. Do not hang up. Give it to Paul. All right? He said he doesn't have it. Paul, please get a number from the wonderful lady there. We're going to pause and take our callers. Mario, as we go into the break, someone messaged, Mario, please run in West Bay NW. All right, stay tuned. Join us right after.
They say variety is the spice of life. And that's why at Subway, we're introducing the new Boneless Hot Sub. Say what? The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new boneless hot sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands. The ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom. The land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
For 55 years, Cayman Airways has been serving as the national flag carrier of the Cayman Islands. This honor is the core of our identity, our purpose. And when we say those who fly us love us, it's not just a tagline, it's a promise. So we're celebrating this milestone anniversary with you, our treasured community, with airfares on sale for travel to all of our fall destinations. But hurry, this airfare sale ends August 12th. Call 949-2311 or book online at CaymanAirways.com. Celebrating 55 years as your national flag carrier.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
It's a 24-karat summer with Digicel. In honor of our first truly COVID-free summer, Digicel is giving away $24,000. Be one of 10 to win $2,400 this July. For a chance to win, all you have to do is switch to Digicel, activate a Prime bundle, or simply pay your bill on time. It's that easy. It takes 2 minutes to get $2,400 richer. Make the choice to win today and visit a Digicel store near you.
The record.
For information that matter to you, the people. Hear from the government, the opposition, independents, and other experts on issues and solutions that affect you.
For the record.
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, tune into 89.9 and 93.9 FM for Cayman's Straight Talk Morning Show. For the record.
I invite you to join me for the record. You are invited to be a part of this interesting and informative show. Embrace the opportunity to dialogue with your legislators, policymakers, and those charged with policy implementation.
For the record.
Brought to you by Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors.
Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. And to the last caller and to all, we don't conscious and deliberate try to disrespect, disconnect. And if the caller would honestly, please leave the number. She can dial us on, back and leave her number. I always enjoy chatting and learning. And if she wants to, she can WhatsApp her number to us, 925-3261. I will call with her. Mario D. Rankin sits with us. We have a couple of calls online, though. It's nothing better than learning from people who are willing to share their perspective. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne and Mario.
Afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon.
Well, first of all, good afternoon. Two preliminary points. First of all, Dwayne, if you ever wanted 2 jobs ever in your life, right now you've got the illusion of having 2 jobs. That is one. The second point, it looks like Mario is milking the calls this afternoon because we all want to call. Look, I want to put it this way. This is like trying to learn more and more about Cayman. I first came to Cayman August 2003, and since then it has been a learning process, and it will never end. So let me say this is a learning call. What I find with Cayman is that a lot of times things that are simple become very complicated. Mm-hmm. My father used to say that, you see, if you find something that's very simple becomes complicated, you know that there's malice involved. Somebody doesn't want to do something. Okay? Look at, for example, this morning, right? When I had the privilege of calling Dwayne on the show with Dr. Steve, the issue of mortgages came up. I mean, I was involved with a certain politician together with a team to try and do something about changing the law in Cayman so that people who have mortgages cannot be easy to evict. And we went through all the details. There were other experts there, and people said, no, what you have in Cayman is not a mortgage. This is a demand loan. You see, if it's a proper mortgage, there is greater protection of you in terms of keeping you out, while at the same time protecting like interest accrual and this and that for the person who gave you the mortgage. And yet, at least since I was involved in a small way with it, 2018, today this is 2023, 5 years after, nothing has been done. The matter is still being studied. And this morning I learned something which I didn't know. Dr. Steve actually mentioned that he even drafted a law, an amendment to a registered land law, using the Consumer Credit Act in the UK, and it has never been used. And I don't understand things like that. The other one I don't understand, and Mario, you have explained from a common sense perspective, which a lot of people have done, to say if I have a voter's card and I can't get a voter's card without going through certain proof to show that I am a Caymanian, why is it that that is not enough for purposes of a job? It doesn't make sense. We had a discussion way back, me, Dr. Steve, who is this, Woody Da Costa on Crosstalk about that very thing. Because the way it looks now is that, okay, given our knowledge, if you've got a liquor license and it is issued to you, and they come inspecting your premises to say, do you have a license? And you give them a license, do they ask you, no, the license is not enough. We want you to produce the minutes of the liquor licensing board meeting which decided that you should be given this license. Do they do that? No, they don't. Now, from a common sense perspective, it is quite clear why they shouldn't do that. But if you want it from a legal perspective, there is something that is called the presumption that matters of procedure have been complied with. In other words, if I come and I ask for a license, you give me what looks to be a valid license, I must presume that it was lawfully given. I can't inquire into whether there was a quorum at the meeting and this and that, and so on. I can't do that. And that is precisely done for the convenience of the public. If, however, there is a specific question which arises regarding whether or not that document is genuine, then you deal with it that way. But somehow this has never been corrected. And by the way, you know how to correct this? They could write a regulation today and say that for the purposes of looking for any job, the voter's card shall be sufficient proof of somebody being a Caymanian, and anybody who doesn't do that shall be guilty of an offense. They can do that in a regulation one Tuesday morning. But somehow it has never been done. Because, you see, you could, of course, have a system where you've got a national identity document, but that, of course, is involved. But they could pass just a law which says that every employer is supposed to recognize that, otherwise it's an offense. But they haven't done that, and they don't want to do it. Look, there was a friend of mine who was at the law school many years ago, and they said, well, everybody has to prove that they are Caymanian so that they pay the appropriate fee. And all the status holders had a document. The Caymanians didn't have a document. So they had to go to immigration and get this and get that. And by the way, when you go to immigration, they've got it. Only this last week I was dealing with a Caymanian friend of mine had to go to immigration to get a document, but he wasn't quite sure what it was, so he called me up and we discussed it. And even me, I didn't know because I'm not too much an immigration person. It has two categories. It says one is confirmation of being Caymanian, the other one is acknowledgement of being Caymanian. And he asked me what the difference between the two was. I said I didn't know. But then he spoke to them. He spoke to them and then called me back 2 days later. I said, no. One of these is if your parents were Caymanian at the time of birth, then you get one of these. Then the other one, you get it if your parents were not Caymanian at the time of birth. Now, you would have thought that life is complicated enough. Why don't they just either pass a law to say that this shall be recognized for purposes of employment, or do a national identity document? I just don't follow this at all. But look, these are things people need. Sorry.
No, I have a question for you because I'm glad we have a legal mind on the line. Question.
I hope I can help.
I'm not sure how familiar you are with the process. I am super new to the process because I had to get it for my daughter's scholarship last year, and now my son had to get it for employment this year. Now, my question is this. Because you can only fill out the form online. You can't walk in the building physically because we tried that and they turned us away and say, oh, you got to fill it out online. Okay, great. But here's my question. What is it that you have to provide in order to attain the document that says you are Caymanian?
What do you have to attain to
No. What documents? What documents do you have to provide to attain the letter that says you are a Caymanian? So, in other words, what the process? In other words, then, what do you provide to the immigration department where gives them the confidence to issue you this letter saying you're a Caymanian?
Well, one, there will be a birth certificate, and then And then they require also, like, because for you, for example, to get it by descent, one of your parents, at least one of them, like if you are born outside the Cayman Islands, at least one of your parents has to be a Caymanian. So if you provide those two, that should do it.
Okay, all right, stick a 5-second pin. When my kids were young, and the lady that used to take care of them in the day, we had a work permit for her. And I remember this specifically because I used to work immigration at one point. I happen to know all the immigration laws as they were then. I don't know what has changed since. Anyway, so I got a letter in the mail saying that the lady's permit had been deferred due to the fact that we had to bring proof that our kids were Caymanian. Now, granted, their mother's a Caymanian and I'm a Caymanian, and the immigration department has access to both of us birth certificates and all of the information necessary to the process. But I had to go to the immigration board to argue with them about providing something that they already had, which was proof that me and their mother was Caymanian, in order to provide a work permit for the lady to continue taking care of them. So, there's so many issues within our immigration laws that just need to be fixed, as you mentioned earlier. They can do it on a Tuesday morning, but they choose not to. But we sit here and all of the inconveniences of these things are starting to have grave impact on the continuity of Caymanian people. And we see it, like I mentioned earlier, my son had to go out and provide this letter of proof of Caymanian before he can take an employment. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you know what, Mario, just let me close on this. You see, what you are saying is so correct. I remember many years ago, this is now going back to 2006, 2007, I was on a trade and business committee with a lot of prominent Caymanians. And the issue which was being discussed there was that, well, when you are being issued with a trade and business license, they have to make sure that you have paid your pension. And then there was an issue as to why there was no sharing of information between pensions, trade and business license, immigration, and so on and so forth, so that you can go to, if you go to one place like trade and business committee or whatever it is, they should be able to look at it and look in the records that all your other records are all right. Why did you have to go to all those other places? And this is the same issue that you are pointing out. If government has already got that record, they should not, or something that is a prerequisite to you getting a certain document, you shouldn't have to produce that document every time. But anyway, thanks very much for the exchange.
And to you.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Right. And let's take another call.
Sure.
Hey, welcome. Thank you for calling. Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm Sterling.
Welcome back.
You know what? I did have it written down. I couldn't find it. Listen, that sucker playing games with you.
I know. It's good to always hear you.
I want to ask Mario, what crime do you have to do to have your voters ID to vote? And do people in prison, can they vote here locally? Are they voters when voting time comes?
Okay.
And what is the crime for your vote?
Good questions. Mario, do you know?
Well, I don't know specifically, but I can research it for you, Miss Jan, and get that for you, because there are some people who are incarcerated who can't vote and have been removed from the voters registration list because of whatever the nature of the crime is. I'm not sure what the criteria is right now, but I know that there is a situation where some persons have been removed from the voters registration list because of some convictions in which they had or were serving time. So.
And if someone is not serving no time, that they can still take a person's name off before they can find out what's really happening with the individual?
Well, I'm not sure, but
right?
Well, I'm not 100% sure. That's something I would have to reach out to Mr. Wesley Howell and get the proper information in regards to that. But I do know that if a person moves from district to another district for longer than a certain period and they haven't changed their registered address, they can be removed from the voters list completely. I've seen that happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, there's a lot of things that we need to work on. But right now, the sustainability and the continuity of our Caymanian people should be top priority, because cost of living is killing all our people.
That's the truth. I don't know. We got to stand together. And we're the ones that are going to stand together. I don't know where they are.
And government takes this approach that they should always try to assist families or assist people who needs assistance to reduce the cost of their energy and they burn or some other mediocre thing that doesn't really fix the problem. We sit down and we watch this merry-go-round go round and round, and people are still suffering worse now today than they have been in the last 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm. So tell me something. What is the max you got to burn to get on this plan that they have to have money to give certain people who's burning so much kilowatt and they will be entitled to? Do you know what the amount is that they would get if they're over?
I'm not sure. I just know that it was $500,000 allocated for that initiative. I'm not 100% sure, and it was some indication in one article that I read online that it was 20 homes that would be granted permission, but obviously they had to be vetted by the committee in order for the eligibility and all this other stuff, which is a pile of foolishness in my view.
Pile of foolishness.
But what I'm going to share here now, I guess, before we close off. I mean, we still got half hour, but I wanted to really touch on some ideas, because it's always easy to complain about or talk about the things that are happening and some of the fundamental issues that we face, but very rarely we hear people talk about the solutions now, and it's even more rare for them to implement solutions, but depending on who it's coming from. But you know, it's always good to have dialogue about the issues, and it's even better when you can offer some sort of solution to mitigate some of these issues. And I think that's where we've fallen short in the past, where we just had a load of things that we talked about, but never really no action on implementing solutions to fix them.
True. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks very much. And
more callers?
Yeah, but let's take a call and we'll read some of these messages.
Okay.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
I call him back again.
Yes.
Something resting on my mind.
Of course. This is your time.
Yeah. You know, I want you to find out for me.
Uh-huh.
Why the ship thing with our Caymanians, our Caymanians can't go overseas on the ship. The young boys and stuff no more, or even young girls. What stopped that? And because I heard, I don't know if it's true or false, but I heard because these Jamaicans were getting our passports and all that, and they're doing a whole lot of stuff. And years ago, when Caymanians would have indefinite visas.
Uh-huh. Yeah, multiple indefinite.
Indefinite U.S. visas.
Yeah, multiple indefinite. Uh-huh.
You never heard about that?
No, multiple indefinite was what it's called. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they used to steal Caymanian passports and put their pictures on it and go abroad and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know if that was true or false, but I want to find out why our local Caymanians, girls and boys, they won't go on the ship. Because I know a lot of them would love to go on the ship and go all over the world and travel and all that kind of stuff. How come they can't get the opportunity to go? I will read up on the real news and say, you can read up on stuff. Where apparently Jamaicans will line up in Jamaica to get on this thing where they can go on the ship and stuff. Thousands of them. And they're getting through over there, And over here now, if you tell anyone them or none on them like we need a trade school, you be doing us trade school, nothing here. The one trade school we got here from them or they happen us. Ganja, cocaine, and ammunition. And they got that set up that they can destroy our people. You understand? This is a setup. But what I'm trying to say to you is, I want to find out how come we have such a bad relationship with the United States of America now that our children can't even go on the ships or anything anymore. And I don't hear nothing from our forefathers or seamen. I can't hear nothing from none of them. What happened? None of them. I don't hear nothing on the talk show. I don't hear nothing from them. What happened?
Okay.
Because it coming I don't know what happened, but it's they help our Cayman Islands too, but at the same time it's I don't know if they destroyed it or they sat down and seen it got destroyed. You understand? But I want to find out today why our little children cannot travel and be on the ships like how they went all over the world. Why?
Well,
You know, I need to find out that. Why we have such a bad relationship with America that our children can't travel abroad and go shipping. Because I don't hear nothing from the sea, man. All I hear about they need what do you call it? More added to their pay or pension. And what it did so much for the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
Huh? But maybe they could tell too what they have did to destroy our Cayman Islands too. You know they probably did a lot of that too. I love them and I care for them and everything. But I want to find out why our young Caymanians, especially those at-risk children that getting led straight, you could put them on a ship and make them learn something. They're good at hand.
Indeed. I want you to forgive me. I'm going to ask you just for that pause so we can take the news break. But maybe a question, sort of in anticipation of what she's asked is there still an interest on our people to do what our forefathers did? I thank you for the passion and the impassion. Please, Mario, with your, continued sort of, counsel and, let's pause. When we come back, let's continue the discussion. Please, stay tuned.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
For 55 years, Cayman Airways has been serving as the national flag carrier of the Cayman Islands. This honor is the core of our identity, our purpose. And when we say those who fly us love us, it's not just a tagline, it's a promise. So we're celebrating this milestone anniversary with you, our treasured community, with airfares on sale for travel to all of our fall destinations. But hurry, this airfare sale ends August 12th. Call 949-2311 or book online at CaymanAirways.com. Celebrating 55 years as your national flag carrier.
Are you tired of waiting in long lines at the pharmacy just to fill a prescription?
If what, child, let me tell you.
Well, now you can save time and money with ValueMed's online prescription service. Visit ValueMed's new website, valrx.com, and click the Refill Subscriptions button. Fill in your information and choose your preferred pickup location. Or email your prescription refills for ValueMed Walkers Road at rx-wr@valrx.com, and for ValueMed in Boddentown, email rx-bt at valrx.com. Say goodbye to the hassle of waiting in lines and hello to the convenience of online prescriptions with ValueMed Pharmacy. Visit valrx.com to place your orders today.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you want to go scuba diving on your vacation, don't bedazzle your wetsuit. And you think you look great, but what you don't realize is that you look like a shiny, scaly fish. And it won't take long for a shark to notice you. Next thing you know, you're busting out every karate move you got. But if you're smart, you'll have CG medical insurance and get airlifted out to the closest hospital.
Get coverage for emergency evacuations. CG Britgay. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
Looking to grow your business? We got this. Yellow Media Group has a proven track record for successfully marketing over 10,000 businesses on the web, expanding our customers' reach and providing measurable results. With the Caribbean's largest team of certified digital consultants, we handle everything, from website development to search engine marketing and much more. So don't worry, we got this. For a free consultation, contact Lee Hipkins at 936-1981.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Older persons and adults living with permanent disabilities who receive financial assistance from the Cayman Islands government will see their monthly stipends from the Needs Assessment Unit increase by more than 30% immediately. In international news, Ukraine's security service says a woman has been arrested over a Russian plot to kill President Volodymyr Zelensky. The service said she tried to find out the itinerary ahead of a recent visit. Ukraine regularly accuses local residents who support Russia of passing information to help Moscow's military. Mr. Zelensky confirmed he had been informed about the arrest, saying the head of the SBU had updated him about the fight against traitors. Russia has not commented on the arrest. 3 people have died following a helicopter crash during a firefighting mission in the U.S. state of California. The incident happened on Sunday evening after fire crews were called to a blaze near Cabazon, Riverside County. The 2 helicopters collided, with one then landing safely and the second crashing into the ground, killing everyone on board. An investigation has been launched into the cause of the crash by the National Transportation Safety Board. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. Today's biggest news.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Aging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us, and thanks to Mario Rankin for being our guest. And before we go to the WhatsApp call, just quickly, maybe share 2 things sent to us online. One of our listeners earlier had asked, or had said, isn't there supposed to be Caymanians working in the immigration department who's supposed to be there for the Caymanians? Not sure if that's rhetorical, but that was written.
Mm-hmm.
Can I also read from one of our listeners? So, I know it's a subject that agrees many, but what is the solution other than getting a letter recognizing them as a Caymanian?
Well, let me just address that. The Caymanian that has on their birth certificate that the 2 Caymanian parents were present when they born should be enough to prove that you're Caymanian. End of story. You shouldn't have to go and seek any other document to say that you're Caymanian.
Yeah, as I listen to it, I wonder if people are recognizing that the emotion behind this is very much like somebody who is, say, from England, but you say they're from France or somewhere else, right? Because you look at them and say, well, all Europeans look alike, just for argument's sake, not being insensitive, just being ill-informed, right? Perhaps they find that offensive. It's not that there's not a recognition for a need for something to identify the citizens of a country, but even that word alone. Well, let's take this call, Mario.
Yeah.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for holding on and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Afternoon, is that me?
I hope it is, man. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, boy. Good afternoon to you and Mario there.
Afternoon.
You got a good part today.
Yeah, man, that sounds like you got a good little bird in the back. Let me guess what kind that is.
I didn't want to call, but I couldn't help myself. I couldn't resist. What the lady just now was talking about what it takes to qualify Caymanians to go to sea. It just somebody willing to do it. You just need an organization that is willing to set a course for Caymanian people to get their seaman qualification or the seaman certification as a common seaman first, and then if they want to go on to navigation or to become a captain, well, they go on to other studies in other part of the world. Probably, I don't know if Jamaica offers it, but places like Honduras offers it, maybe in the States too. And then just reach out to one of these shipping companies that say that they want seamen, and it's just not a recruitment drive. I mean, it's something like that. That maybe that's something Mr. Raymond could enlighten us all about. But I'm sure it isn't that. I'm sure it isn't that difficult to do that. But what I had in my mind was all it takes to prove that you're a Caymanian is to tell them you're a foreigner. That's all it takes, and depends on which demographic you tell them you're from. You would become a Kenyan quicker or not. And if they now listen to this, right? If the voters card, that's what I'm saying. If the level of ludicrous is so amazing on this island that sometimes you can't really believe it. If the voters card no good, then we never had an election that just went in. And all 19 of them that were voted in, they got come out. How about that? Because if the election cards are not good, then we never had an election. That was an election we had.
Well,
it's simple as that.
You're absolutely right. If your voter's registration can determine you're a Caymanian, but yet give you the right to vote, which is the one requirement that you need in order to vote, is be a Caymanian. Yeah, it's mind blowing.
You see, you could laugh at so much of these issues that it's pitiful. You know, and it's a serious border control issue that we have. Because sometimes when I look inside, go to one of these building the other day, and I went in to speak to somebody inside the office. Right, the security guard opened the office door, and the security guard came in and stand up next to the door. Inside the same office was what I thought I was having a private conversation with the person that I was having a conversation with. These people come from India. These people come from China. These people come from Philippines. You're not really vent them good enough to see if these people are terrorists or what information they could be taken, because I'm having a private conversation with a politician or somebody else. And these people are started up right next to the door inside the office, listening to the conversation. And the person that I'm talking to, he never tell them, well, can you please step outside or something. He just leave them there, you know. And it's just another thing. I just gotta leave you all with this, and the listeners, just look the word up, capitalism. Just look that up, then to see the meaning of capitalism, and then they should know that we now voting for politicians. We're voting for business owners. 100%. We're not voting for politicians to help the common people.
You're right.
We're voting for business owners according to the word capitalism, and we're on that capitalism system. You know, because there's no capitalistic government. There's a capitalistic system, and the system suggests that everything is privatized. You know. Yeah. So the people just gotta be enlightened with those things, you know. All right. So good listening to you guys today, and I'll leave you with that.
Likewise, man. Thank you for calling. Let's take another call, Mario. That's fine.
Sure.
All right. Welcome. Good afternoon. Hello. Good afternoon. Yeah. Hello.
Darling Dwayne Ebanks, I need a husband.
You need me to be a matchmaker?
I never got married in my life, but I need a husband now.
Okay, well, we're fine. Hey, send your credentials and what you're looking for, man, I'm sure.
Yeah?
We can find one.
All my children, and 2 grandbabies, and I raised 1 granddaughter. I need a husband.
All right. Well.
But look, he got come good too, you know.
Are you up for the task?
Come good. Oh yeah, he got come good. He got to give me everything I want. He got to give me Foster's. He got to give me CUC. He got to give everything.
I'll be the clip for a song about that.
All
right.
I can tell you. But, you know, what I was calling about, it laid on my heart so much. we always celebrate the seamen, right? And I remember my father went on a national bird, and I remember going to sleep and never saw him. I remember waking up and never saw him. All I heard the call is when he coming in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, you know, that is a real trauma to children. Yeah, that's a real trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Till this day, I live with it.
Mm-hmm.
And to see people coming here, women marrying or local seamen and collecting that money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen to me good. And at the end of the day, my mother died before they could give it to the wives. My mother passed away. You understand? And you tell me something now. You tell me something now. Who you think should get this? The wives that came here and hooked up and conked up with them like recently, or the children that had saw them and suffered from them being missing from their homes? Who should get that money? You don't think the children should get that money? Tell me that.
It is like so much.
No.
Mm-hmm.
If we had the right people, the right government, the right people to represent our local people, if you've been through that, you don't know how it feels. Every time you go park up by the ocean, you can remember your father. Every time you come home, you can remember your mother.
Mm-hmm.
So who you think really should get that money? You don't think the children should get that? Or you think that somebody else come from and sweet you up and rub you down and make, but they made that choice, you know. The men made that choice, you know, because they had children, they could take care of them and care for them, whatever, you know. But they made that choice because they were playing young and dyeing up the hair black and brown and red and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because they felt like they were young again. But they never remembered who they put through the trouble who really had the trouble with their children and the mother of those children. Because if you woke up in the morning and you never saw your daddy, you went sleep and you never saw your daddy, you know how bad that felt?
Mm-hmm.
I've been through that. I know what it is. It's when he come home now and he salted down salt water and like, I'm home. I'm back. You know how that your heart just lifts up in the air.
Mm-hmm. Many of us can relate to what you feel.
People that come from, listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
These women can't be collecting or seamen money. I don't care. If the children, the mother's dead, she don't collect it, the children must collect it because the children has been the one that been traumatized from this situation. Because when you got a parent that gone, leave you come in, like, it's like, my daughter come now. You speechless. You
Mm-hmm.
can't talk. I've been through that. I know what it is up to this day. And I can sit down and see people coming in, collecting my uncle money, this one money, and that one money. Right? And what about when the father's dead? Right? The mother dead. So, what about the children? Why they not getting the money? And these local Caymanian children that bear the pain and suffering and tears and traumatization. Why? Or Caymanian children are getting it. Why? Why are Cayman children not getting that money? I want to know. I want to know. Because God is not sleeping or He's not slumbering.
Mm-hmm.
If people could come from overseas, a woman can marry a man and treat him up and rub his belly down and get that money. What happened to the children that their fathers went abroad? The mother did, the father did. What happened? The children can't collect the money. Why the children can't get that money too? Why? But a stranger can come and collect from daddy? Something wrong. Something is seriously wrong.
It raises some questions, and I know many who understand, that aspect of family law can give the legal perspective, but I hear your social conscience. Hey, thanks for that. Let us reflect on that as we take the final break and then return to our calls. Stay tuned.
Honey, did you get your Benzorama ticket yet?
Benzorama what?
The Lions Club Benzorama fundraiser. You could win a brand new Mercedes-Benz.
What? I have always wanted a Mercedes. What kind of Benz?
A brand new sparkling 2023 Mercedes-Benz GLA 200. Tickets are $25 for one, $3 for $65, or $5 for $100. And you're helping to support the many Lions Club of Grand Cayman causes.
Driving in my new Benz and feeling good about helping the community.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzorama fundraiser. Your chance to win a 2023 Mercedes-Benz GLA 200. Benzorama fundraiser tickets are available from Lions Club members and various sales outlets. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzorama fundraiser supports numerous community initiatives, includes site screening, Christmas deliveries, restoration, and social services.
Why replace when you can respray? At Granite Express Cayman, we can completely transform your old kitchen cabinets with a fresh kitchen respray for just a fraction of the cost of buying new ones. Big news! Our summer special promo is here. We are offering kitchen countertop specials up to 50 square feet installed for only $1,595 CI for granite and $1,895 for quartz. We can make your dream kitchen come true and at a price to suit all budgets. Call 922-0424 for a free estimate, friendly service, fast installation. Hurry! Limited time only while supplies last. Visit graniteexpresscayman.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
I love Pizza Boat. It's yummy. It has my two favorite things combined, cheese and boats. Pizza Boat makes pizza way more fun.
Hop on board the Pizza Boat Express. Kids, now Pizza Boat makes pizza even more fun. Summer is here. Lunch or dinner, let Pizza Boat bring the fun. Pizza Boat, a Cayman twist to pizza, bringing fusion ingredients from all over the globe to give you locally inspired fresh pizzas all day, every day. Pizza Boat, now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. Pick up or delivery 949-0000 or order online www.pizzaboat.ky.
For 55 years, Cayman Airways has been serving as the national flag carrier of the Cayman Islands. This honor is the core of our identity, our purpose. And when we say those who fly us love us, it's not just a tagline, it's a promise. So we're celebrating this milestone anniversary with you, our treasured community, with airfares on sale for travel to all of our fall destinations. But hurry, this airfare sale ends August 12th. Call 949-2311 or book online at CaymanAirways.com. Celebrating 55 years as your national flag carrier.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome in the excellent company of Mario Rankin. I believe we got time for one final call. When you come in, man, it's always inspiring and encouraging, man. Engaging the audience. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon.
Yeah, just another quick call, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the young lady that was the last caller on your show before me, what she said, it's very emotional.
Yes, sir.
I can relate to that because in 1963, I wasn't even 17. I left here October, I was 17 December. My mother told me, you better go and see your grandparents before you go. That's my grandparents by my father's side. Sterling and I went down to see them because I was so close to them, but I could not tell them that I was leaving to go to sea. I just couldn't break the words, right? I had to fight back the tears walking away from them. Went to sea in October. The next year, you was corresponding by letter. And the letter I got said, Orman, I'm sorry to inform you, both of your grandparents died 5 hours apart. So we had a double funeral. Until today, I still feel guilty that I didn't tell them I was leaving, but I just couldn't do it. Emotionally, I couldn't do it. So this is what she's talking about, what Caymanians went through as seamen. We've had a hell of a hard life, but, what she said has a lot of merit to it, my friend. So I just want to congratulate her for what she said because everything she said practically is true. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And, we had some excellent, sometimes emotive commentary, Mario. And before we, close out, I'm told that's it. That's the final call. Can I just share with you this last sentiment from our messaging system?
Mm-hmm.
This person references, for the caller who wanted an obligation to follow the Constitution, Section 121 from the Penal Code includes it, and they send it's a disobedience or lawful duty, Section 121. A person who willfully disobeys any law by doing any act which such law forbids, or by omitting to do any act which such law requires to be done, and which concerns the public or any part of the public, commits an offense, and, unless the law provides some other penalty, is liable to imprisonment for 2 years. Now, I read it, I was sent, and I can, enjoy the commentary about it, but perhaps that's one of the challenges in the way laws are written, that they're as clear as mud sometimes today. It may be deliberate. We can revisit that at some point and the like, but to your point though, there seems to be a growing concern on the part of our populace about what is happening in the country, economically, politically, and socially.
Yeah.
Is there, to your mind, a growing willingness to engage in a civil, organized, responsible, respectful way to ensure that the agenda reflects and represents not just the Caymanian ethos, but the well-being of the Caymanians in the country?
Well, I certainly believe that there is a huge block of society that is paying close attention to what's evolving around them. Certainly in the past, we weren't as in touch or in tune with politics or policies or certain things that happen. But we got a lot of younger people who are definitely connected to what's happening and keeping themselves aware of their surroundings. I know this personally because I talk to a few groups of younger people who have expressed and continue to express how they feel about the system and how things are happening and certain policies that undermine or may disenfranchise them, the participation in the workforce, all of the key elements of life that gives these young individuals an opportunity to be better participants or to participate at all. They're paying attention, and they're not a society or a generation where education had been one of the greatest issues, right? Because the deprivation of education was a very handy tool that the oppressors used in the past. But now with access to so much information and so much things, the evolution of education has come a very long way. So people are more involved and in tune with what's happening now. You still have to have that courage to speak out publicly if you feel like that's the situation, and then you don't have to speak out publicly to make a difference. You could collectively work together in order to create movements and to have some impact in a positive way to change the things that you feel is a hindrance to your growth, right? A couple of things that I wanted to touch on today, but I'm happy that we had such an onslaught of calls and interaction with people, because those are some of the things that we encourage as people to get involved. And cost of living is one of the major sticking factors for Caymanians right now, because it's such a broad topic and it covers a large area, and we see where many governments have tried to mitigate some of the issues by doing short-term remedies and small social programs that are not really the ultimate fix. And I don't know whether or not that it's deliberate or it's just that they don't have the ability to implement anything or engage in a conversation that they can come to a resolution where they can implement something long-term as opposed to some short-term fix. And we've seen multiple social programs from this government, just this government alone, and the ones in the past, where they felt like, oh, well, we have to do something immediate, so here's what we're going to do short term, and hopefully by the time we exhaust this resource, we would have developed an idea on how to put something long term in place. But again, it's our collective responsibility to be good brothers and sisters keepers. And to the gentleman that just called about the seamen and the lady that called before, Caymanian seamen, they sacrificed a lot, and she expressed how it made her feel as a child seeing her father leave and not be there the next morning. Now, just imagine how he felt as a father leaving his family and not seeing them the next morning, and having to go abroad for so long to work so hard in order to send money back home to take care of his family. So it wasn't just one person in that family that was affected; it was everybody. And I have compassion for her, because I can hear the pain in her voice when she said that, look, I suffered through the loss of my dad, and now someone who come in after the fact is now reaping the benefits of his hard work and the things that he put in. So, Caymanian people come from good stock. We come from good stock, and I don't know how we fell from the grace of being hard working, resilient people to being called lazy and not want to work. And I resent that when I hear foreigners, and especially people who have just been here for a month or two, saying that they have to do the jobs that we are not willing to do. The difference is that the way the cost of living is structured in Cayman is only attainable and sustainable for those people who come on work permit. But Caymanians can't survive in this environment. We can't. And there's no way, there's absolutely no way. I don't care how many $500,000 the Premier put in place to reduce somebody's the energy bill. It's not going to help. You're not helping the situation. I'll leave with saying this because I know we're out of time. And maybe some other time we'll get into this. I'll call into your show. But, we need to start holding all of the gatekeepers accountable for the things that they charge us for, the things that they hold us accountable for, which is our light bills and our water bills and these different things. And right now, I'm going to start a program to try to encourage every person in Cayman to get a kilowatt meter separate from the one that CUC is using, to put on your bill, to put on your on your grid, to see how much kilowatts you actually burning compared to what they're billing you for. And then we want to see where is the formula that they use to calculate how much fuel I use to burn those kilowatts that you say I used. And are we getting value for money? Because I can assure you that in the absence of something that is fair that comes out of this program and this research, there will be a class action lawsuit that will break this exclusive clause that they have holding us chokehold in the Cayman Islands to foot the bill for their petroleum costs, but yet we're not seeing the true value for money. We're not seeing the reasoning. We got 5 items on our bill that we have to pay without even asking a question, or else we get cut off. An alternative energy surcharge for if you have a house with no alternative energy, why are you paying an alternative energy surcharge? No one has ever discussed that with the public, but yet it's on your bill.
So you're paying for the people who are off the grid?
That's right.
Okay.
And you're paying for the 5 megawatts that they bought from somebody who built it up in Bodden Town. And nobody discussed that with Mario. And matter of fact, if I'm paying an alternative energy bill, where is the alternative energy and why I don't own it? And how long are we going to pay for it before we own it?
Who owns the power lines?
Well, the problem with the grid is that government have given an agreement. I don't think it's been renewed in the last couple of years. It's starting to be corrected, but I know at one point for a long period of time, CUC didn't have an agreement with the government to have those poles on the road shoulders and crown land and private land. There used to be an agreement but now I think that after Hurricane Ivan, where the general public paid an immense amount of money to rebuild that grid and maintain that grid, we should own the grid. Every properly developed country in the world own their own grid. I don't know why in the world we don't own our grid, because we're not a third world nation where we depend on these things. It's our grid, it's our land. We should be in charge of it, and we need to break this exclusive distribution clause. And I think the way to do that legally, without being saddled with a heavy legal bill, is we need to do an independent investigation on how they have develop a formula to tell you individually this is how much fuel you burn, because on your bill it is clear as English, fuel factor, telling you how much you burn. How did they come up with how much you burn? They had to average it out. Well, if you burn in X amount of kilowatts per month and their generator burning X amount of diesel to produce certain amount of kilowatts, then it's an average to say this is what you could be burning. And I'll give you a case, an example in which they use right now. They charge the government for every street light on the road on the light poles, right? But not one single street light have a meter on it. All it has is how much kilowatts each bulb burn. They combine it, they add it up and say, okay, this is what you probably using. And that's the bill we get.
I wonder if the country knows how much those streetlights cost a month.
But you see, whether we know how much it costs or not,
or how much the government's paying for it.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You can go on the website and see it, but it doesn't matter what we're paying. But the question is what we're paying is correct? That's the question. So, again...
Well, Mario, you being here is probably, to my mind, one of the primary reasons why people feel courageous and encouraged to call and share their commentary. Thanks for inspiring the dialogue. Maybe the D is for dialogue.
No, you got to get off of that D word,
okay.
Bro. Yeah.
Hey, you like basketball? Play the D. I'll leave that for now. But thanks very much.
All right, man. Have a good day.
And to one of our listeners who says, relative to politicians, there is a serious problem. The politicians are following the Constitution, presumably, but is anyone holding them accountable? And they when we look at that, I'm hoping that as a country we understand that we can responsibly and respectfully engage in meaningful conversation, and it shouldn't be vitriolic, it shouldn't be malicious.
Well, if I have 30 seconds,
yes, sir.
I'll leave with this, which is what I would have liked to have gotten into. Here is a solution for the Caymanian mortgage crisis. There are $3.5 trillion being managed on the Cayman Island shores every year through mutual funds and hedge funds. The financial service industry is responsible for managing these funds. They collect about 25% in fees in order to take care of all of the business of these funds. All the government would have to do, I suggest, would, instead of collecting just only licensing fees and work permit fees and all those different things, the government should put a 5% stipulation in there that goes into a sovereignty. And every year that they collect that 5% from that 25% of the $3.5 trillion that they're collecting, we take those monies and we find the indigenous Caymanians who have mortgages that are struggling, and we pay their mortgages off one by one. Every time we get the money, we pay those mortgages off. And because it's not a whole lot of Caymanians, it won't take very long for us to have every Caymanian in these islands mortgage free, which would alleviate a lot of stress and issues in which they face. Now, if you look at Singapore and Dubai, something very similar happens there, where they take the country's resources, reinvest it in the people. Now, granted, Cayman don't have any exports of resources leaving, but we do have a service-based society in which we provide, but we let all of these private institutions come here, reap all the benefits. The equity partners can go and buy private islands if they want with their bonuses every year, but yet the Caymanian people are subjected to interest rates that don't affect our mortgages, and then they become homeless because they can't afford to pay the obscene amount of money that the interest rate has caused them now to pay monthly. So if the government really want to do something that is reinvesting in their people, put a 5% sovereignty tax. And I don't want to use the word tax because everybody's so afraid of it, but call it duties because duties is tax. Put a 5% on the already 25% because they don't affect the customer. Put it into a sovereignty and pay off mortgages for Caymanians. You have a good day.
All right. That is Mario Rankin. And thank you for accepting the invitation. We hopefully have you join us again whenever possible. And to our listeners, this is where your bread is buttered and this is where you lay your head at night. Let's see how we can work to make it that much better and bright. At the end of the day, it's about working together. It's about, hands and hearts, joining forces in a sense of unity to make the community that much stronger. Join me again tomorrow for Talk Today after the midday news. In the morning, the buzz is up, so be a part of that conversation. When you're on tune with Radio Cayman, you not only get entertained and informed, but you also feel engaged and valued. Until tomorrow, my friends, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.